Welcome back to Better Than Fiction with Jeanette and Eden. August is over? No, wait, it's September.
Wrong.
September is over.
Life is going too fast for Eden.
Yikes. On to October, my favorite month. Very excited.
Here's to hoping that we have time to read all the kinds of different books that we want to read.
Yes.
Maybe it'll rain a little bit.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, a little bit of rain. Nice. Cozy rain, cup of tea, maybe a cat.
Maybe a cat. Fall blanket. Yeah.
Quilt.
Whatever.
In our family, that's pretty important.
Quilts.
Yeah, it's quilts, not blankets.
I read all of my books this month. Did you read all of your books?
I did. It was a struggle.
Yes.
It was a struggle. I did just finish my last one, over the weekend. So
very good. So, what did I read? I read Marrying Mozart by Stephanie Cowell. That was my number read. It was good. It was about Mozart and the Weber sisters, which he had some sort of romantic thing with each of the sisters.
He was a busy guy.
He was a busy guy. And I liked it. I just felt the characters were very skimmy for being a book about relationships. But it was interesting how he fell in love with one sister, ended up marrying and falling in love and marrying another one, and was set up to marry the third sister, and it was a whole thing. A whole
lot of wrong going on in there.
Little Mozart, yeah. So that was interesting. Something I knew about, but I hadn't known too much about. It was a novel, so fictionalized too. But that was a book I read. My nonfiction, I read Crying in H Mart, which was a memoir about a woman grieving from her mom passing from cancer, and her life as a Korean American and traveling between America and Korea, and her ties to that. Very good. I think worth a read as well. It got a lot of press.
A couple years ago.
2 years ago when it came out.
When it first came out.
Worth a read for sure. I don't think it's not relevant either, so. And then our book prompt was read a sports themed book, and we both read romances. I read hockey romance because that was a thing I got really into. I read Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Totally worth the hype. I loved it. I devoured that book. Trending on Book Talk. I loved it. She's got a second book coming out, I think next month in October, that I'm gonna have to pick up because it's so good. Very good.
Now she's gonna put that on my TBR list, and I'm not typically a reader of sports themes.
No, me neither, but hockey romances, man, they really get me.
I'm gonna have to put that one on my TBR list. So if it's not in and you want to read it, put your name on the reserve list.
Yeah. And that was those were my wrap-ups.
Did you read anything else?
Yeah, I read some books. Try to do some preemptive book club book readings. So I was just trying out different books for book club this month. So some I liked, some I felt kind of flat for me. So yeah, that was really it.
Well, I did manage to get mine done. I struggled with my number book. My number book was Wolf Winter by Ekbok. She's a Swedish writer. I absolutely love the setting. It's medieval times, up in kind of nowhere, Finland at that point, and a lot of harsh environment. Her descriptions of place were great, which is actually what kept me going. I also really liked reading about the superstitions of the time, with folks who moved up to the area, and then of course the more native Lapland folks who had lived there longer. So I enjoyed that part. 1717 is when it took place. It is a murder mystery, which are typically not my thing, and that was the typical formula that the murder mystery had. So if you like murder mysteries, it ran right along that typical formula, but it really has great place. This one was my copy, but I am going to put it in the library because I do think Mystery readers will find it really interesting. And it was very well written. So if you're looking for a new Swedish writer, or because we know Scandinavian writers are pretty popular, I do recommend it if you like murder.
If you like
murder, it is there. I read for my sports theme. Yes, we did romance. Mine went to basketball because I like basketball. So I read Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. This was a series that was actually requested into the library by a patron. They're really popular, and there's a couple out. I think by that writer.
Trilogy.
Yeah, I think so too. So I may or may not pick another one up. Something with Long Shot that I was happy with is that it is not simply a romance. It really took on some very serious themes of domestic violence and abuse. It was extremely serious in part, so it was. If you're looking for an escapist read, a lightweight romance to kind of take your mind off things, actually this is not it. If you want a good romance, but yet taking on some issues, this one might be for you, though. Because it was really good. It really surprised me. I was expecting, lightweight, fluff, escapist read, and I went, holy cow.
Yeah.
This really took on some heavy, heavy themes, and the author did not hold back. So, if that's what you're looking for, we do have the whole trilogy here at the library. My nonfiction, I did get to read, and I finished. This Is What It Sounds Like.
Yeah.
Highly recommended. It was fun. It was fun talking to my husband at night when I was reading. I'd read sections, and then we'd go listen to the music that they talk about. So it was really fun. It was a fun and very interactive book.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it if you at all
enjoy music.
Yeah. So that was pretty exciting. Other things I've been reading this month, we're getting ready to start a teen book club. So I was reading through some of the teen books I hadn't read that I thought might be good for that book club, but also just some interesting reads that I've been wanting to read. I've read some Japanese novels this month, and some historical fiction that I've been putting off. So that's probably one other reason when I didn't really care for my murder mystery. All these other books were calling my name. Yeah. So they all came first, but I did get it finished.
That's going to be my problem in October, is I love to read witchy romances mostly in October. And I have like a long list of stuff that I want to read of that genre. So I'm going to have to find time definitely to read my...
And I shouldn't tell you that more are ordered.
They're on their way.
They're on their way. They're on their way. Some of them that a lot of folks are talking about.
Yeah.
And I did start, I think it's called Witching Time. Witching Tide. Mm-hmm. Very good.
I know.
I'm about
that's on my list.
Quarter of the way through, maybe even closer to half. It's not a very big book.
Yeah.
Very good book on early witch trials in Europe. So early.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. So, next month, what are we reading?
Well, for sure, our nonfiction, we'll start with that. I'm going to 900s, which is history, is what I've picked up. I'm going to dive into the family Romanov. Jeanette, I've learned today, is she loves this part of history and this facet and this family and everything that ties to it. And I've always been interested in it. I think it's weird what happened, and I just know the barest minimum about it, so I'm excited to kind of
delve into the politics,
dive into it more. So I'm picking up this.
Yeah, I was actually a history major as one of my majors in my undergrad. It was sociology and history for my undergrad, and my emphasis when I graduated was all Russian history. So I spent 2 solid years with Russian history, first 2 years with Japanese history.
I didn't know that. That's really cool. Okay, well,
Catherine the Great was my huge mentor. I just thought she's pretty awesome. At the time when women couldn't even, own their children.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything. She ruled the largest country in the world, liked her shoes and her dresses, and pretty much told everyone else, stick it. So, now granted, she had a little murder complex if you got her way, but, you got to give or take a little.
Well... Wow, I didn't know that about you. That's really cool. Well, I'm excited to read that and then pick Jeanette's brain.
Well, Yes, I do have I do love that time period, and I think that the sociology behind it's fascinating. For my nonfiction, I'm heading toward the 600s, and I'm going to read a new book that we had gotten in that I thought was going to be very interesting. Hadn't had a chance to read it yet. It's called Strangers to Ourselves: Unsettled Minds and the Stories That Make Us. It's looking at mental health and how the stories other people tell about us and that we believe, or and also what we tell ourselves in our brain may or may not really be the truth about who we actually are. So it's supposed to talk about a couple of different people who are going through mental health issues. So I'm going to be delving into that. So excited to read that.
Okay. Should we do our number draw?
Do our number draw. I am a little nervous. All year so far, all year, I had 2 commitment books, two much longer books on my list, and they are still on my list for the busiest months of the year. So I'm a little nervous. I have 1 short one and 2 long ones left.
I'm hoping for my commitment book.
I am actually too. I'm
Number
hoping
12.
for one of my commitment books.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Here we go. We are number 10. Yes, my commitment book.
Not mine. That's
This
okay.
one's almost a 500-page book, so yay.
What is your book?
I'm going to read The Last Green Valley by Sullivan. It's historical fiction.
Okay. I'll be reading
Piranesi.
Piranesi by Clark.
Oh, and it's a short one, so maybe
Yeah.
it is a good one because
I can read all my witchy books.
you can read all your witchy books.
There we go. All right.
Read all your witchy books.
Right side. Yeah.
So maybe it's not so bad.
No. But I really wanted to read my number 12 because the 3rd book of that series comes out, and I want to read it next year. Okay. And book prompt.
All right.
Mom.
You want to pick? Or want me to pick? All right, you pick. What do we got going on here?
Read a book with enemies
Oh,
to lover romance or friends to lover romance.
Okay, we might be a little one-sided here. We have a lot of romance.
Love
here.
it. Cool.
All right.
So that is our.
So there we go. We hope that you are also continuing on your bingo sheet. I have been doing really, really well. I just have a few left, and I read a challenge book, but didn't write it down. So I read a lot of those. And actually, I had to find out why Ulysses by James Joyce was on the banned books list that Urbandale and some of the others are talking. That was one book that was left on. You know, that's a mighty thick book. I actually went and bought it at a used bookstore. And it was talking about when I had to go read what was banned in it. Okay, there's some issues. But I always thought it was maybe due to maybe it might make you go to sleep. So I don't know if I can say I'm looking forward to that, but that is something.
That's a commitment book.
That is a commitment book. So maybe if I leave this open by December, I'll have Ulysses done because I have never read it before. But I did choose. I'm reading an award-winning book from the year you were born. It just came in on interlibrary loan that I'll read this month. I was kind of on my yearbooks. I've already read Wind in the Willows that won the children's literature that year for different kinds of awards, and I'm going ugh. So I'm reading a book called G by Baldwin, and it has an interesting political past, and what the author did at the time was really interesting because he was against awards at that time. So he still took his award money, but then he gave most of it to the British Black Panthers because this was the Booker Award winner of '72. So I'm kind of interested to read his book and see what was happening in Britain and some of the other controversy around a book that is just G with a period. So
I have done 0 bingo sheet reading for I think 2 months now, so I need to get back on that. Shortlists are coming out, so I think I'm going to be picking up some
yay!
shortlist
And we
books.
do have some
have
of
a
those
lot of
short list books.
Yep. And then I do want to read a challenge book. We've got a couple from a private book club that I'm interested in reading. And I still I have a big book picked for a historical fiction set in an Eastern country. I just haven't picked it up yet, so Maybe October's my month. Maybe I'm too hopeful. Probably November.
No, we got this. Holidays? No. Don't
We'll see.
be setting that bar too high over the holiday months. Unless you're gonna run away from all the required commitments that will happen.
Well, car rides.
That's right. You get to read. I'm the driver. I'm jealous.
I'm
I'm very jealous. Very jealous. All right. Well, October. Happy reading.